Hi everyone, it's Michelle Lloyd here, founder of United ArtSpace, and I am super excited because I'm joined with my lovely member, Kelly Herrick. Thank you for joining us, Kelly. Kelly's kindly decided to hop on today and chat with you all because some of you were deciding whether you want to join the hub, but also we want to talk about Kelly's artwork and her journey. And so welcome, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for the invite. It's really nice to speak to everyone. Hi.
And you're one of our newest members, really, because you joined in the last enrolment, and I just think your progress so far has been phenomenal.
Oh, bless you. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I kind of been skirting around the edges of doing something like this for a while. So I guess from a mindset point of view, I was ready. So I know that everybody's at a totally different stage, which is just one of the lovely things about the hub. You can learn from people who have kind of gone a little bit further on their journey, and you can support people who you can kind of impart some of the things you've learned and learn from everyone. But yeah, I was ready to go. So I think that's perhaps why I've made some progress. So it was good.
Yeah, I remember you joining me, and I could see that determination, because some people join and it's so scary, and you know you're dipping your toe in, but you're like Lloyd, and I could see that determination. You're ready, and yeah, it's exciting. So tell us, because some people won't know what kind of artist you are. So tell us a bit about your artwork.
Okay, so I'm a contemporary landscape artist and I paint mostly in oils actually, but I do fart around in watercolour and acrylic inks, if I can use that word. So yeah, I just love to create something that is really bold and colourful and really expressive, and something that captures that sort of sense of place and moment that people love about being in a place. So I'm developing a whole range of North Yorkshire coastal collection, and I get so many people say, oh, I love Robin Hood's Bay, or I go to Whitby as a kid, or oh, we were there in the summer. So I'm trying to capture that sort of non-photographic element of a landscape. So I do things like I've got some to show you.
Yeah, I
So
love
this
it.
is a
Oh, look
nighttime
at
scene,
that.
and that is actually Robin Hood's Bay. Obviously I'm very Van Gogh fan base.
Yeah.
And then this is a daytime scene of Staithes up in
I
North
remember you
York.
showing that one. I think that was the first one you posted inside the hub, wasn't it?
Yeah, I love a boat, and a lot of people say boats are cheesy, but I love a boat. So yeah, I concentrate on the British coastal landscape mostly. Yeah.
And how long have you been painting? How long have you been?
So not very long. I had this story in my mind, which is totally crazy. When we were at school, that I was best friends with the art one, and I was the drama one. So I couldn't be an artist for my whole life. And then I turned 40, so I'm 45 next month. I turned 40 and I was like, God, this is crazy. I wanted to paint all my life. I've always doodled and sketched, and I work in the creative industries in design. And I just took the dive and I went into a watercolor class actually, with a lovely artist. So yeah, about 3 or 4 years.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh. And look at your work. It's outstanding. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so good. Oh, you've just reminded me actually when back at school, when, you know, a friend said that she'd want to do fashion, you go, okay, I can't do that now. That's yours. It's funny. You've just brought back a memory of us deciding which direction we'd all go in, because you can't do the same, of course.
Yeah, and that crazy mindset stuff is what holds you back quite often, and that's what I really love about what you teach in the hub, and how you bring people together, that you start with mindset. And
Yeah.
for me that's really important, because I have this imposter syndrome all the time, like they're
Yeah.
gonna find out, or you know, little old me, why do they want to buy my paintings? And there's still so much fear, even if you love your paintings and you believe in what you're doing, there's so much fear and doubt and uncertainty.
Yeah.
And
All the way through.
yeah, that's a great thing about the hub. I do love that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And so what was it 3 years ago that made you get back into painting, do you think? Was there like a pinnacle moment or something that happened?
Yeah, so with my main career, I've kind of did the whole bigger, better, faster, more, and I was like global marketing director for big corporate businesses, and climbed and climbed and climbed and climbed. And I think we're seeing now that climate over the past few years of people. We get there and we're like, oh, is this it? I thought there was something more when I got here, and you feel a bit unfulfilled. So at that time, I felt like I needed to go back to my more creative beginnings, and I joined a committee for our local arts establishment here called Quad in Derby. And I joined a Shakespeare theatre company, and I was in a play, and I went back to art class, and I just kind of surrounded myself with all these more creative things. And I went back to work in a design agency as well. So I kind of switched up my corporate life for a role in a design agency. And it just seemed to, it was quite serendipitous. It was almost like I kind of got to that point where I needed to feed my soul. And I did quite a few different things, had a smorgasbord of things, and painting just emerged as my absolute, I couldn't stop. I just could not stop painting, couldn't put brush down, never get bored with it. And I've got quite a short attention span, and painting is like, I don't care how long I've been painting, you know, I can
Oh,
carry
that's so
on and on.
good.
So yeah.
Oh, and I love how you, as we've been working together inside the hub, and you've been working on your why, and all of this relationship to, you know, when you were growing up and being on the fairs and all of that, you're realizing that that influences your work now, doesn't it? Which is
Yeah,
great.
so yeah, I do have an odd background in that I did grow up on the fair. You know, all of my family are from the fair, travelling fair. And I think just being surrounded by so much colour and noise and bold and bright and quite a lot of graphic design and sign writing and music does definitely impact on, you know, the work you see. And some of it is slightly calmer, but there's a lot of really bold colours and things in there. And I think also travelling around the country and being out in the landscape, even if it was sort of urban landscape, you know, I kind of have that roaming nature where I do want to go and explore and capture those places. And I definitely think that comes from my past, for sure.
Yeah, it's so, so lovely to see. And so, what do you think has been the biggest thing for you joining the hub in relation to how it's helped you?
I think it's given me a really good system. So I've got really great anchor points. And although I say it's a system, it's not kind of process driven for all of us creative people who kind of go A to B to C all the way through to Z in like 5 minutes every Tuesday at 9:35. It's not that. It's very fluid and organic. But the really strong anchor points mean that I can explore around the anchor point and know where to come back to and then where to go in my next step. So although it is process driven, it's not confining in any way, but I love the whole sort of method or system that I've got with the 7 key ingredients. It's just perfect because we can go slow, we can go fast, you can go back to the beginning and start again. So
Yeah.
for me, painting is one thing, and learning how to paint and learning how to develop my style, but what do you do with it? And that's what I was kind of befuddled with. So
Yeah.
you guys came along and it was like, oh my god, this is perfect, it's exactly what I need.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of
great.
people say that it anchors you back down. It just gives you that focus. You just check where you are in the 7 keys and you can get
Yeah,
back into it. Like you say, when you're making, it's hard to keep flitting back between the two because they're very different ways of thinking, aren't they?
yeah, it's just like that lovely group of kind of, you know, there's open arms waiting for you. So you go off down your rabbit hole of making or stressing or traveling or whatever it is you're doing, and you just know that you can come back to that kind of safe harbor inside the hub group.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you've made a mistake, or it's okay if you've kind of got something a bit wrong or missed a
Mhm.
step, because there's so many people there who can you can reach out to and help, and then there's the anchor points to get back to. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
just great for that.
I'm so glad. Can you cast your mind back? Did you have any doubts when you were thinking of joining the hub? Because sometimes, you know, when you're pushing your finger on that button, all the fears come forward, and I think it's good to share them.
Yeah, so I had doubts around the fact that I don't know about everybody else, but I must be I'm quite into sort of psychology and coaching, and I have friends who are coaches and stuff. So I get hit all the time on social media with ads for like coaching programs and develop your this and develop your that, and so many of them are such a con. You know, they pay me 5,000 and I'll show you how to coach clients for 20 million pounds, and you're like, oh really? So there was that element, and I just after doing the free workshops with you, you just seemed so authentic and so lovely, and I was kind of like, no, she's not one of these strange American types that's going to take all my cash or away. So there was that. So I think the way you held our hands going through those free workshops, and you gave us so much of value that if I'd have wanted to have stopped, I could have done all this on my own, really. It would
Yeah.
have been so much tougher.
Yeah.
But you gave so much of value away. So that really settled me down. And you're
Mm.
so personal and connected with me when I was asking you questions about joining. So
Yeah.
I wasn't kind of farmed off to a call center or to someone else. It was you directly. So that really settled me. So that was one side of the coin. I suppose the other side was, oh my God, I'm going to have to put my work in there. And what if people's better than me? And oh my God, how do I compare to everybody? And only old me, that imposter stuff came back, like flooded back.
Yeah.
And that first moment where you asked us to share an artwork, I was kind of like, oh, I was ready to press the button for so long. And I was like, oh, go for it. And yeah. So I think no matter what your art is or what your confidence level is or your mindset, we just all have that. It's visual art you put out into the world. Everybody has a blooming opinion about it, right? So
Yeah.
I think it was those two things really.
That's really interesting to know. Thank you for sharing that. And I think, yeah, because I have a lot of people say, why do you share so much in the workshops? But it's for that reason. It's because I love what I do, but also it's to show that I've got nothing to hide, and I am just sharing, you know, what I know. So that's really, really nice to know. And I think that fear, like you say, of sharing something so personal, I'm glad you've shared that as well, because I think that is everyone's fear when they join. It's that first piece of artwork, and there's so many groups that are critical, and you know can get quite nasty about art. And you know, that's one of the interesting things about art. It's so subjective that it can make people so angry and emotion driven. But we don't have that in the hub. There's no.
No, it doesn't feel like there's a high art group in the hub, and then there's a craft art group, and then there's a part-time art group, and there's none of that. And I think seeing the value in everybody's work and learning from, like, I've really learned from portraitists that are in the group, and I've really learned from seeing people go through the process of their sculpture and their pottery work, their ceramicists. And so I think you just have to have a really open mind, you know, to what you're going to learn from people, and dive in, even if it's only little bits at a time. But yeah, don't stand on the sidelines, you know, really try and get involved. That's what would be my advice when you join, is try and make the most of it, because it's for you. It's only like, you know, if you're on a diet and you go and secretly eat Mars bars, you're not going to really lose any weight. So kind of, if you come into the hub and you don't really do it, you'll probably get something from it, but you're not going to maximize the opportunity for yourself.
I was just about to ask you actually if you got any advice for anyone who's thinking of joining. I guess you kind of just answered it.
Yeah, so definitely try and get a little bit involved, even if it's frightening, even if it's just hello every week as a little message or something, just to kind of activate yourself. What I really love about the hub, and I am very action oriented as a person anyway, is the practical action based steps and things that you can do. So you read or you watch a demo or a workshop, and then you do something from it that impacts your art and making a living from your art.
Yeah.
And I would say that be prepared and be brave to take some steps, and go at your own pace for sure, but just be prepared to take some steps. And I think that would be my main advice, is to have a go, really. Because I think if you see it as kind of a nice social club or just a kind of learning experience, that's also really valid and great. But like I said, I don't think you'll get everything out of it that you could get for yourself, which is a shame, right? So,
yeah, I think you're right. And you're right to just take those small steps. If you just keep chipping away at everything that's in there, you will progress and you will succeed. It's inevitable.
Yeah, and we've all got our own rhythm and pace and style.
Yeah.
So I want to go at like a million miles an hour, but somebody might want to go at snail's pace. And that's
Yeah.
all totally fine. It's all
Yeah,
totally
we've
fine.
got the hub turtles who go at their own pace, very slow, and that's fine. And I think that is the other nice thing about the hub. You can't fall behind because everyone's on their own journey, aren't they? So you come in and you use it, and you can work for the material at your own pace, and you take those steps forward. And everyone is on their different journey. But I love that you've just reminded me of the importance of being around different genres and different artists who make different things, because we all learn so much from each other, even though we're all doing different things.
Yeah, and I've had real practical but very supportive advice on some of my work. I was really struggling with a sky on a painting, and I posted it in the group. And whilst a lot of people said, oh, I really like it as it is, some people said, well, what about the colour palette and the tone and this? And I came back to it with fresh eyes, with those comments in my mind. And they were very kind comments. They weren't mean.
Yeah.
I changed the sky and it looks so much better. So, you know, to have people, because your family and friends just go, oh yeah, it's perfect, it's lovely, don't they? So to have people critically appraise something in a really kind way is such a blessing, and it's so valuable.
That's great. Before we wrap up, Kelly, is there any words of wisdom or advice that you would give artists in relation to making, or anything that you've learned in your journey so far of being an artist?
Yeah, very much. I've learned from doing some commission work that I enjoyed doing, but wasn't perhaps my type of work, my subject matter. So I would absolutely say to everybody, whether you are trying to make a living from this or whether you want to join the hub or not, make for yourself. Absolutely make for your passion, make art that you love, make art that you want to carry on making and that you aren't bored by making, and that you can explore and develop. As soon as you start trying to make something you think is going to sell or something somebody else will like, suddenly the kind of passion and the soul disappears, and that shows, I think, in your work. So absolutely make art that you love is my big advice for everyone, me included.
Yay! Thank you so much for joining us today, Kelly. I've loved speaking to you. Thank you for taking the time. I really, really appreciate it. I'm sure everyone has loved listening to you today. So I'm going to put your links if you send me those afterwards. If you want to go and follow Kelly and her journey as an artist, please do. And if you'd like to join the hub, the links will go at the bottom. And we would love to welcome you. You'd get to hang out with Kelly and all the other members and myself. And yeah, we'd love you to join us. So take care. Thanks again, Kelly.
Thank you. Bye everyone. Bye.
Bye.